Now let us focus on the temporary tables that we are learning today. So we are going to understand that temporary tables are basically regular tables. Just like how we have the regular tables that are generated in the database, similarly we have the temporary tables, but they are stored in the tempdb folder. Now the tempdb folder is a particular folder where we keep all the temporary objects that are present within the database. Now this is automatically dropped when they are no longer needed. So that is why this creates a temporary view or a temporary table just for us. Now they can be used in order to store intermediate results, and yes, because it's a table, it can be indexed as well. Apart from that, we will also understand that there are two types of temporary tables that we have here. So we have the local temporary table and the global temporary table. Now, we can understand that when there is a local temporary table, it is created only for the session in which it is being used. So currently, so if I just want to have it accessed for a different, or say for example a different session altogether, then it is not accessible. For that, maybe we will be needing a global temporary table in that case. And it is available for all sessions, and it is automatically dropped when the last session that is referring to these temporary tables end. That is the time when it is dropped from the temp database. And you can see the difference that the local temporary table is prefixed with the hashtag, whereas the global temporary tables is prefixed with 2 hashtags. Now, when we go on to create a temporary table, let us understand that we do it with the help of the create table itself. But when we are specifying a temporary table, I need to add the hashtag, and then I have to give the name of the temporary table. And then of course, just the way on how we create a table, it is created in similar manner. When I start adding values into it, again, I make use of the same insert into, and I basically add the temporary table's name along with the different columns and the values as usual. And if I want to query from it, I can again make use of the select star from, just same as how we do it for a regular table. Similarly, if I want to drop it, I can make use of the drop table. Now let us look at the advantages of temporary tables. Let us understand that why temporary tables are so good for us. The first thing is that we can basically index on temporary tables. That's much more important because again, when I'm using it in case of large databases, it is basically really good for me when I need performance from my queries. Apart from that, I can apply multiple operations onto it. That is, I can basically make use of joins or subqueries on my temporary table. And just because it is stored in a temporary database, that is why I can optimize it for handling memory related issues. And of course, there is a life cycle management that works behind it. So the temporary table is automatically dropped when the session ends, and when there are no sessions that are actually using them, that is in terms of global temporary tables, they are automatically dropped. Next, we are going to also see that where temporary tables are much more useful. So we know that when there is a batch processing, that means a series of queries that are getting executed one after the other. So that is where temporary tables are much more useful because again of its memory allocation. You know that it has a temporary memory. So that is why basically batch processing is much more easier on that. Data staging, that means where I need to stage data from various sources before actually doing a final aggregation. So that is where temporary tables are much more important. Apart from that, if my query requires complex transactions that takes place, then yes, I can make use of temporary tables there.